Today, we're going to talk right now in English. So, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good night.
Good
Welcome.
afternoon.
Welcome to Shark Convention 2026 in its English version for the second time. For those who doesn't know me, my name is Gabriela Casuso. I'm the founder and leader of Proyecto Acuática and a 2026 High Seas Youth Ambassador with High Seas Alliance and Earth Eco International. It's truly a pleasure to welcome all of you to this special event as we celebrate Shark Awareness Day. Whether you're joining us from Colombia or from another part of the world, thank you for being here and for choosing to spend part of your day learning about one of the ocean's most fascinating and most misunderstood animals. Because today is much more than a celebration of sharks. It's an opportunity to explore how sharks connect entire oceans, why the high seas matter for their survival, and how young people can become part of the global movement working to protect them. Because many people know sharks from movies, especially sci fi ones. Others know them from documentaries. But today, I invite you to learn about them through science. Because once we understand sharks, we also begin to understand the ocean itself. So, talking about the reasons about this year edition is that this year is really meaningful because our theme goes beyond sharks. Last month, during the Más Guardianes Acuáticos Festival for World Oceans Day, we explored the importance of the high seas and the BBNG Agreement, the international treaty created to protect marine biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. We learned that the ocean is not divided by political borders, or like we learned in high school, in college, like there's the Atlantic Ocean, there's the Pacific Ocean. No, their functions are one interconnected system where what happens in one region can influence ecosystems thousands of kilometers away. So today, we're taking the next step in that conversation. We'll discover that protecting sharks also means protecting the high seas, that are the vast areas of the ocean that begin beyond countries' exclusive economic zones and cover nearly two-thirds of the world's ocean. Although no country owns the high seas, they're essential for life on Earth. They regulate our climate. They support incredible marine biodiversity. They connect ecosystems across the planet and they provide migration routes for countless species. Many sharks spend a large part of their lives in these international waters. Species like whale sharks, that we're going to talk about that species later, great white sharks, the sharkfin makers, the oceanic white-tip sharks, they travel, imagine it, thousands of kilometers across entire oceans basins without recognizing the political borders. Their journeys remind us that conservation cannot stop at national boundaries, and that's exactly why international cooperation matters. So, protecting sharks isn't only about protecting one species, it's about protecting the migration routes they depend on, the ecosystems that sustain them, and the shared ocean that connects every country and every one of us. Today, we're going to explore sharks not only as a fascinating animal, but also as ambassadors of a much bigger story, the story of our shared ocean and our shared responsibility to protect it. This event is also part of my campaign Voices of the High Seas for Colombia, or in Spanish, Voces de Alta Mar por Colombia, developed through the High Seas Youth Ambassadors Program of High Seas Alliance and Earth Eco International. Through this campaign, we're working to make conversations about the high seas, about ocean literacy and marine conservation to make it more accessible to young people across Colombia while connecting them with inspiring voices from all around the world. Today's conversation is one more step toward that goal. But before begin with our conversation with today's guest expert and with our Shark Junior, I like to share something that makes me especially happy, and is that one of the things I love most about Proyecto Acuática is seeing young people realize that they don't have to wait until they're scientists to contribute to ocean conservations. They can ask questions, they can communicate science, they can inspire others. And sometimes those first small actions become the beginning of a lifelong journey. But before we continue with the conversation, I'd like to make a little pause for a very special moment, because one of the main goals of Shark Convention has always been to create opportunities for young people not only to learn from scientists, but also to become active voices in ocean conservation. Too often, young people are told that they are the future, but I believe they're already making a difference today. Around the world, there are children and young people who are organizing beach cleanups, that are creating educational projects and speaking to their communities, participating in research initiatives, and inspiring others to care about the ocean. That's why this year we invited several young ocean advocates from different countries to share a simple but powerful message. Although they come from different cultures, they speak different languages, and live thousands of kilometers apart, they're all connected by the same ocean. Each of them answer one question about sharks, about the high seas, or why young people should care about ocean conservation. And their answers reminds us that protecting sharks isn't only the responsibility of scientists, governments, or conservation organizations. It's something that all of us, including young people, can be part of. So I'm I'd now like to invite you to listen to the voice of some incredible young ocean advocates from around the world. The videos, you're going to see them now, but you can search on our social media channels to see every video by separate and to share and promote their interventions during Shark Convention.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to explain why sharks are so important. Like many people, I used to think that sharks were a dangerous animal that should be feared. However, after spending a lot of time in the ocean and learning more about them, I realized that most of the things that I believed came from movies and stereotypes, not from facts. Sharks play a vital role in keeping our oceans healthy. As top predators, they help regulate marine life and maintain the balance of many ecosystems. Without sharks, many marine species would become unbalanced, and this could have damaged coral reefs and affected the health of our oceans. What shocked me the most is that humans are a much greater threat to sharks than sharks are to us. Millions of sharks are killed every single year because of overfishing and finning, while sharks' attacks on humans are extremely rare. As someone who has surfed for many years, learning about sharks completely changed my perspective. I no longer see them as monsters, but as incredible animals that deserve our respect and protection. Protecting sharks isn't just about saving one species, it's about protecting the oceans that all of us depend on.
Estamos dentro de unas grietas en las costas de Santa Cruz, en Galápagos, donde habitan juveniles de varias especies de tiburón. Y afortunadamente en Galápagos los tiburones están protegidos, entonces sabemos que aquí pueden vivir sus vidas sin las amenazas que les presentamos nosotros los humanos. Sin embargo, cuando ya crecen y salen hacia las aguas, sobre todo internacionales, donde hay menos protección, ahí sí son vulnerables, y por eso varias de las especies que tenemos aquí están en peligro de extinción. Gracias al tratado BBNJ es posible generar protección, crear áreas marinas protegidas en aguas que nos pertenecen a todos y no a un solo país en particular. Y esperemos que durante los siguientes años logremos realmente una protección efectiva, no solo para los tiburones juveniles, sino para los adultos donde quiera que vayan. En este mes del tiburón, pensemos en eso. Estos manglares que nos rodean son hábitat clave para tiburones juveniles. Aquí tenemos especies de tiburón punta negra y de tiburón martillo. Estamos ahora en la isla Santa Cruz, en Galápagos, un lugar clave para los tiburones. Los tiburones son realmente los amos del océano, son depredadores en muchos casos tope, son los motores de procesos de selección natural y ayudan a mantener la salud de los ecosistemas y hábitats marinos como los que tenemos a nuestro alrededor. Pero todo está conectado, no es que pasan todas sus vidas aquí en el manglar, sino que cuando ya crecen se adentran fuera a las aguas pelágicas, abiertas de la reserva e incluso hacia aguas internacionales. Y estamos muy emocionados porque hace poco se ratificó un acuerdo internacional para poder proteger aguas internacionales. Entonces estamos ahora trabajando, identificando zonas que son importantes para estas especies amenazadas. Y bueno, mi deseo es que en los años venideros pues logremos generar áreas marinas protegidas que nos vinculen Galápagos, Cocos, Malpelo con las costas y también con esas aguas internacionales ahí fuera.
Hello everyone, I'm Awi Blaise, an environmental activist from Cameroon. Today on Sharks Awareness Day, I'm so delighted to join other youths from around the world to talk about shark conservation. They help control the population of other marine species, helping maintain ecological balance, and they also help in cleaning the oceans. And that is why initiatives like the BRN, or call it the High Seas Treaty, are very important as it brings together governments of countries for protection of marine biodiversity. Today also, as young people, our role is very central and very important in the protection of sharks. Happy Sharks Awareness Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of our young speakers for sharing your ideas and your passion for the ocean. Every one of these messages reminds us that conservation has no borders. Whether you're in Africa, you're in Europe, you're in Latin America, or anywhere else in the world, we're all connected by one shared ocean, and we all have a role to play in protecting it. And now, staying with the theme of youth leadership, I like to introduce another young ocean advocate who will take us a little deeper into today's topic. Joining us from Barranquilla, Colombia, is Matias Núñez, one of our, and this is a surprise that I have for him, that it's the title that I want to give you in this convention. He's one of our coral reef shark juniors. He's a ninth grade student from the Institución Educativa Distrital Técnica Bilingüe Jorge Nicolás Abello. And throughout the past weeks, Matias has participated in a series of training sessions about sharks, high seas, science communication, and public speaking as part of Shark Convention 2026. Today, he'll share a short presentation exploring the relationship between sharks and the high seas, reminding us why protecting one also means protecting the other. So, Matias, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gabriela. I'm going to explain a topic that is the sharks and the high seas. Because the sharks are important animals that help keep the ocean healthy. They are top predators, so they control the population of other marine animals and keep the ecosystem balanced. The high seas are the parts of the ocean that are outside any country's borders, and they cover almost half of the Earth's surface and are home to many species, including sharks. Today, Many sharks in the high seas are in danger because of overfishing, pollution, and climate change. Protecting sharks are important because healthy shark pollution and population help maintain healthy oceans. And in conclusion, the protecting sharks are the high seas is essential for marine life and for the future of our planet.
Thank you so much, Matthias. That was a wonderful introduction to today's topic. Now it's time to welcome the scientist who will guide us even deeper into the fascinating world of sharks. So it's my pleasure to introduce Alberto Garcia Bacier. Alberto is the director of Whale Shark Mexico and a doctoral researcher at CICIMAR, where his work focuses on whale shark ecology, satellite tracking, migration, and marine conservation. So, for many years, he has dedicated his career to understanding one of the ocean's most iconic species, and I want to say that is my favorite shark species, and helping transform scientific knowledge into conservation action. So, Alberto, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and welcome to Shark Convention 2026.
Hi all. Good morning, and thank you very much, Gabriela, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to talk about this fascinating animal. So, yeah, uh, yeah. Thank you very much for the invitation.
So, to begin our conversation, I like to invite Matthias to ask the first set of questions. During his preparation for today's event, he learned how to build three different type of questions: a curious question, a personal question, and a transformative question. So, Matthias, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. And I have a question for you, Alberto, that it's what one thing about sharks that the people had completely wrong if they thinking and they say that the sharks are monsters, but I think that that's wrong. And what do you think if that is really wrong or something?
Well, I think it's not true. Definitely. First of all, I think all that impression we have from sharks come from movies. I don't know if because you are quite young, but there is a very old movie now, which is called Jaws, and that movie brought like a giant white shark, great white shark, and it's a furious shark and it's killing people at the sea, and that brought the impression that all sharks are the same. But first of all, sharks have different shapes, different bodies, and different sizes, and not all of them are super big, right? Uh, Thinking about the whale shark, for example, is the biggest shark and is the one that feeds on zooplankton, so 100% not aggressive at all. And then there are other shark species that might be a bit more aggressive, but for sure they are not human killers. They prey on other things like seals or dead animals and fish, but for sure we are not part of the diet. So totally wrong.
And I want to make a question too. Throughout your career, what discovery about whale shark has surprised you the most? And why do you think it matters to understand the importance of the high seas?
Okay. So, well, about this particular species, we still don't know much of them. Like, especially because when we think of all the knowledge we've got about sharks, most of it comes from fisheries. When we talk about reproduction, for example, the idea of knowing how many babies a shark has and how long is the gestation period, that all that comes from fish camps where scientists record and register the information from dead sharks already. uh, about the whale shark, for example, we still don't know anything about reproduction, besides one specimen that was caught in Taiwan, and we know that they have 304 babies within their bodies, which is fascinating. But we still don't know, for example, how many babies are released at a time, on how long is the gestation period, or where do they give birth. We still don't know that. Something that I found fascinating about sharks is that, for example, where I study them, which is in the Mexican Pacific, some animals have been returning to the same areas for 15 years, and we know that they go from one location to another every year. So they spend some time in location A for several months, and then they go to location B, and they've been coming and doing this migration for at least 15 years. So that's pretty impressive.
Matias, do you have any questions too?
Yeah. Alberto, do you have what early memory do you have about the ocean or experience?
What early memory? Wow. So uh, I became fascinated about the ocean at a very young age. But I'm from Madrid, which is a city in the middle of Spain. We don't have the sea around us. So my first memories came from TV shows and documentaries exploring the ocean. That's the first time I saw the ocean and its inhabitants. And then when I was 12, I think I took the first scuba diving experience with my dad. And that was awesome. And it's when I really saw for the first time the fish. Very few fish, actually, but I fall in love with the ocean.
It's an amazing experience. I think in my a couple of experiences that I have diving, I remember that every time I go into the water is like you're in complete silence, but the silence is so peaceful. It's so amazing that I don't know. It makes you feel like home. For
Hmm.
me, at least.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, especially if we live in cities where we are surrounded by cars and noise and pollution and these kind of things. When we enter into the water, it's like something completely different. We are with our breaths and just feeling our heartbeat and our breath rhythm, and it's so relaxing, right? So yeah, completely different world that feels like home. Yeah.
And now that we are in this kind of context, we're seeing that we have children, we have the new generations being interested whether in learning more about the ocean or even become marine scientists. So my question is that looking back at your own journey, what advice will you give to someone who hopes to dedicate their life to shark conservation?
Mm. I would say, as an advice, then don't be frustrated and and keep going, because it's a long journey and it's not easy to get there. Probably where you want to be or what you want to get, it's not going to be easy, that drive. So it's not, don't expect to become a shark scientist in a couple of years. Like, you will have to develop a long career and face different issues and problems, and you will be frustrated, but keep going. If you work hard and with passion, and you are willing to learn new things, then you will get where you want to be. So yeah.
Matias?
Yeah. Alberto, if you could change one human activity to protect the ocean, what could it be?
If I want to change an activity, that was your question.
Yes.
Ooh, to protect the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, one that I don't like especially is industrial fishing. I will, I will end it up. Like, I think is one of the most destructive human activities we do at sea, where there is no control of what we are fishing, and the impact on not just on sharks but on many other marine species is huge. That I will just allow artisanal fisheries. And when I come to Madrid here, I don't eat fish. Like, I will go to the coast and I will eat fish there. Especially because that didn't happen in the past. Like now, because we are in a globalized world, it seems that we have to eat everything. Uh, and it doesn't make sense to me that living in Spain we need to eat avocados, which are not from here. So the same with fish. I think industrial fishing is a huge problem for and needs to be regulated. Especially talking to the high seas for so many years, that's been like the place where you could do anything you wanted and not at all. So yeah, I'm glad that finally we've got an agreement to regulate the high seas, and let's see how it goes, for sure. Hmm.
And well, I have a question because I saw some people that they confuse the artisanal fishing and industrial fishing. Could you
Okay.
tell us a little bit about the difference between these two types of fishing?
Yeah, so artisanal fisheries are usually developed near the coastline, so a few miles away from the coast, and it's usually a one-day trip. So people go out and they return in the day. But uh, artisanal fisheries actually could be very destructive. So it all depends on what type of fishing method you are using. You could be an artisanal fisherman, but if you are using a very long line or a very long net, you could kill a lot of species without noticing. But still, it's a one-day trip, and then you come back. Versus in industrial fishing, you depart from port and you spend 2 3 months at the sea fishing, and usually you use long nets or very long lines, and you catch tons of sharks or tons of sharks or whatever. The bycatch usually is huge, and then you return to port. So the impact of that activities is always way higher than artisanal fishermen.
Do you have another question, Matthias, or do you think we're great until now?
Yeah. Everything okay? Yeah.
Well, I have one last question, and is that, at least by my side, and is that as countries move forward with implementing the High Seas Treaty, what opportunities do you see for science and the international collaboration to improve shark conservation over the next decade?
Yeah, well, I think the hike says is a uh, very good move forward because sharks are migratory species. They don't know about borders, especially the for example, talking about the whale shark, right? They are able to swim for 13,000 of kilometers, 15, 20,000 kilometers is the longest migration ever recorded, which was from Panama to Hawaii, and to the Mexican, and then to the Indo-Pacific Ocean. So it's a very long distance, and of course it doesn't make sense to protect sharks in this case in the continental shelf or the the boundaries. Is it called the economic exclusive zones of the countries?
Yeah.
If then in the high seas countries are doing whatever they want, right? So I think let's see how. I think it's a challenge for scientists as well, because yeah, but there will be plenty of opportunities, especially knowing how the animals or the sharks in this case are moving and what are the migration routes. Let's see where they go and how much time they spend on the high seas and see what is actually the impact there. Because maybe I don't know, maybe the impact is for talking about whale sharks, for example. Maybe there is a bigger impact on the economic exclusive zones, especially from shipping or from bycatch, than there is in the high seas. We don't know yet these things, so it's an opportunity window here for scientists to compare risks in the high seas and in the country's economic zones. So,
And before today's event, everyone who registered had the opportunity to submit questions through
mhm.
our participation form. So we received questions from people of different age, all united by the same curiosity about sharks and the ocean. So I like to share a few of them with you.
Mhm.
The first one is, what types of tagging technologies do scientists use to track sharks, and how does this information help us understand the current status of shark populations?
Whoa, that's a nice question. So yeah, right now with technology, we are able to deploy small transmitters on sharks. There are different types. There are others that there are some that have different sensors, like to record, for example, depth, temperature, oxygen dissolved in the ocean. But usually, on average, the main ones are temperature and depth, and then some others include acceleration, accelerometry, to record the speed, the movements of sharks. And depends on the species, they are attached usually close to the dorsal fin, to locate the GPS position. So when the shark moves and the tag is enough time above the surface, it needs to dry a little bit. It's got a sensor that when it gets dry, it transmit a position to a satellite, and then you will get that position, right? So using this technology, which are different types of tags, there are spot tags, splash tags, different names, right? We've been able, for example, now in the last couple of years or 3 years, to develop ISRAs, which are important shark and ray areas, and by the IUCN. And in this form of important areas, we've been using satellite telemetry data to look at migration corridors and migration routes and delineate or specify what are the areas where sharks spend the most amount of time, right? So with that, we've put in the map where sharks are moving and spending more time in order to then communicate with governments and say, well, this is important area for sharks and it needs to be protected.
Actually, well, you were talking about the telemetry and that. I have an experience, and you can share it on our YouTube channel. And is that in my university they told us to research a scientific article,
Mhm.
and I made it about sharks,
Nice.
and it was about two totally different type of shark species, and they use some telemetry acoustic tags to understand that those two different type of shark species, they live in the same place, they live in the
Mhm.
same place. The only difference that they have, besides their size and their physics, is that they just live like
Mm.
one lives deeper and the other don't,
Mm. No,
and
that's
their vertical migration too.
hmm hmm Yeah. So, for example, with satellite telemetry, we know that the whale shark dives, or it's able to dive deeper than 1,900 meters, but we still don't know how deep they actually can go because the tag broke at the depth, and so it's not the animal stopped there. It's just that the tag broke, and we actually still don't know how deep can they go.
But the tag broke because of depression.
Exactly, because of the pressure. Yeah,
My goodness.
yeah.
Well,
So now there are some scientists. We try to deploy one this May. This attack that it's able to resist for 3,000 meters deep. And the idea is to start to know, yeah, how deep they go and for how long they stay there, because we don't know why do they go there and what they do. So
the other question of the audience is, how does a shark know whether something is food or not? And how can we use that knowledge to help young people care more about sharks and the ocean in an engaging way?
Mm. So sharks are pretty smart actually in terms of differentiate what is food and what is not. They've got a pretty good smell sense, so they can detect and they can smell for long distances, specific smell that feels attractive. For example, when probably you've heard that they smell the blood, and if you are bleeding in the ocean, you will be killed by sharks. Well, not really, but blood makes them more excited about something is there, right? And then they also have got another sense, which is unique from sharks and rays, which are the ampullae of Lorenzini. And these are electromagnetic sensors that they've got in the head, in the most apical parts of the head, what we will call the nose. And they use them to detect the electronic fields of the prey. So they can feel our heartbeats and our electric pulses, and they are able to know what is that without even saying it. So for example, when they hunt at night, they don't see where the prey is, but they can detect their electric fields. So and then the vision, right? So if it's during the day, they can see. And so it's first of all the smell. They smell something from far away. Then the electromagnetic fields, or this ampullae of Lorenzini, and then the eyes. They use them to look at the prey and see. Oh, for example, typical example, when there is a shark attack, they don't see pretty well, and when they see on the surface a surfer going with the surfing board, and the waves are breaking, there is bad visibility. They don't smell anything, but they can detect that something is above them. And some sharks, they prey from bottom to top, right? So they come from the deep and then they go. And it's not that they want to kill it and eat it. They just want to know what is that. And for that, they give small bite. But a small bite from a 5 or 6 meter long great white, it's a very big bite, right? So if it gets on the right, on the wrong place, they can kill you, because they take you a leg out, and that's unfortunate. But it's not that they want to kill a human. They just want to know what is that, as if you want to try how a small cake tastes. So you will take a small portion. I'm like it. I want to take more, right? So it's the same. Yeah.
And the last question that we have, at least I was surprised when I read it the first time,
Hmm.
is sharks are often described as incredibly resilient animals. Is there any scientists? Is there anything scientists have learned from shark biology that could contribute to medicine or human health?
Oh, nice. So, for example, they've got, that is true. So they are very resilient and they can recover very quick from injuries. Like I see that every year with the whale sharks. They get a propeller cut, for example, on the head, and a few weeks or a few months later, it's completely healed. You know, we don't know in the whale sharks, for example, what's causing that recovery rate to be so fast. We know that, for example, they've got um, a component which is called arachidonic acid, which is a fatty acid that it has antibiotic properties and can help recover from an injury faster. And it's one of the species of sharks that have this component in a higher concentration. And for example, something that is being used for medicine from sharks is a substance called squalene. It's used to make some medicines. But yeah, sharks are pretty resilient. that's for sure.
So, before we move toward the closing of today's convention, I like to invite Matthias back one last time because throughout the conversation of today, he had the opportunity to learn directly from one of the world's leading shark researchers. So, Matthias, after everything you heard today and what you learned these past weeks, what's the most important lesson you'll take away from Shark Convention? And what message would you like to share with other young people who care about the future of our ocean?
Okay, I think that this project is about sharks and in defense that they are super important animal for the ocean. And the project explains that sharks are top predators and they have been on the earth for more than 400 million years and they keep the balance of the sea. It defends that we need to stop seeing them as monsters and start protecting them because without them, the marine ecosystem has damaged. And I feel doing this project made me feel surprised because the
Mhm.
truth, I was also scared of them because in movies they only show sharks attacking. But when I investigate, I realize that they are more scared of us. And I feel responsible to inform people because many people kill sharks just because of ignorance. And I want to recommend three things to young people that don't believe everything we see because movies exaggerate and shark attacks are super rare. More people die from fighting and take care of the ocean. If sharks disappear, there will be too many small fish and the food chain breaks and everything gets unbalanced. And create awareness. Don't buy products like shark fin soup. If we protecting campaigns, we should support them. Then sharks are not the problem. We are when we destroy their habitat.
Wow. Thank you so much, Matthias. I think that reflection perfectly captures the spirit of today's convention. So, thank you. And throughout this conversation, as you can see, we learn that sharks are much more than fascinating animals. As you can see, they connect ecosystems, they connect countries, and perhaps most importantly, they connect people because protecting sharks also means protecting the high seas. And we just learned that. Strengthening international cooperation and safeguarding the future of our shared ocean because science gives us knowledge. But when we saw this kind of space, when new generation is determined to know more about the ocean, you can realize that curiosity, that collaboration, that working together, and that education are what transform that knowledge into action. So before saying goodbye, I like to share two wonderful opportunities for young people who would like to become more involved in ocean conservation. So the first one, if you are between 13 and 25 years old, I encourage you to apply for the Gen Z. Gen Z is an international youth network that connects young ocean advocates from around the world through leadership, through collaboration, and ocean action. And the other one is that if you're developing an innovative idea or a project that helps protect the ocean, I also invite you to explore the Ocean Love Innovation Award, which supports youth led initiatives creating positive change for our blue planet. So, both opportunities welcome young people, as you can see, from many different countries. And I truly, truly, truly encourage you to learn more and become part of these global communities. And right now, I want to say on this International Shark Awareness Day, let's remember that protecting sharks in us is not only about saving one species, it's not only saving the great white or saving the whale shark or the oceanic white tip. It's about protecting the health of the ocean that connects us all. And I like to thank Alberto, for sharing this knowledge and your experience with us today. And I to thank Matthias and to all the young ocean advocates whose voices became part of this convention. And thank you everyone who joined us from different parts of the world. So thank you so much, Alberto. Thank you so much, Matthias.
Thank you very much, Gabriela, and of course, thank you very much, Matthias, for being here and for being an ocean and shark advocate, which is what we need actually from the young people. And yeah, thank you everyone who assisted, and I hope you enjoyed.
And I hope today's conversation inspires you to keep asking questions, to keep learning, not only Matthias, but the young ocean advocates that are seeing us today, and to keep taking action for the ocean. Because every great movement for conservation begins with curiosity. And I believe that every young person has the power to make a difference. So until the next time, remember, the future of sharks depends on the choices we make today. Thank you so much and
Thank
happy International Shark Awareness Day.
you.